Good morning. This is Katherine Bell, and coming up next is the Dream Journal. I am offering this week a replay of a conversation from over a year ago with Santa Cruz Jungian psychotherapist Eva Rider. We talk about the Jungian approach to dream work, including a discussion of concepts such as compensation dreams, big dreams, and the dialectic, and also why nightmares are the most important dreams to connect with. Eva also brings in the wisdom of Carl Jung by sharing insightful quotes of his throughout the show. You'll hear a slightly older version of the journal with Rick Kleffel generating his background music live and in the studio with me. You'll also hear full versions of all the songs from this show rather than the 30-second clips that I now play. So, sorry, no call-in this week, but please settle in and enjoy this special vintage edition of the Dream Journal.
Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Good morning. You are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org. I am Katherine Bell, and this is the Dream Journal. Today, we are live in the studio with Eva Rider. Eva is a Jungian psychotherapist and licensed marriage and family therapist. Eva works by integrating image, symbol, and archetype and invites exploration of our personal myths. Her work opens a dialogue between the conscious and unconscious elements of soul, promoting healing, vitality, and wholeness. This is Katherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. In the words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. I'd also like to let you know that I'm excited to have back in the studio fellow K-Squid programmer Rick Kleffel, who will be improvising some synthesizer music to enhance your dreamy experience. You should see the tangle of electronics he has set up in the other room. Thank you, Rick. So I want to start with my personal dream work and to say that, so what's going on for me in my dream world right now? So I mentioned last time working with a dream about turning into a lizard, and that dream is still very present for me. The lizard is, there's just something about this, that there's a transformation happening in me. And the lizard thinks in a way different than other animals think. So for me, something about the lizard brain and about safety and hunger and heat, rather than the more complex social emotions of the mammals. So one of the things that I found about working with my lizard self is that my lizard self often sees a way through where my regular waking life self doesn't. I have another dream I've been exploring in which I am playing rock and roll music in the crypt of this church, and it's an amazing experience just playing the songs. And at some point, though, I get locked out, like I can't get back down into the crypt, and I feel like I can't play that music anymore. And in the dream, I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's too bad, but, you know, that's how life is. But if I bring my lizard self to that moment of standing outside the locked door, I get an immediate, oh, I'll just go under the door. For a lizard, it's easy to get back into where that music is. Because there's something about music that is very primal and it's very important to me. So by bringing these dream images together, I get to have a richer experience of my life. I'd like to remind you that you are listening to the Dream Journal on KSQD 90.7 FM Community Radio for Santa Cruz, streaming live at ksqd.org. And I'm Katherine Bell. So I would like to welcome our guest, Eva Rider. Welcome, Eva. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So Eva Rider, MA, MFT, is a licensed Jungian-oriented depth psychotherapist, a workshop leader, and presenter. Eva's teaching incorporates dream work with fairy tale, myth, tarot, music, movement, and art, based in an exploration of the correspondences between Jungian theory, alchemy, and psyche, or soma, as revealed through the Hermetic Tree of Life. Eva Rider is a graduate of the renowned Marion Woodman BodySoul Rhythms Leadership Training Program. Eva has taught dreamwork, Jungian theory, and myth at John F. Kennedy University and teaches independently at locations in the United States and Canada. Eva has served as advisory board member and instructor for the Depth Psychology Alliance, a global network for depth psychology. She holds certifications as a hypnotherapist, movement expression teacher, soul collage facilitator, and TRE practitioner, which is a practice of somatic trauma release. She's also a very valuable local resource who works here in the community. So I'm glad to have you on the air, Eva.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering, do you have a quote to start for us? I see you have your paper out. I wonder if you have something that you'd like to just to start out with.
Yes. In terms of, I have so much, of course. So here's a quote by C.G. Jung. The dream cannot be explained with a psychology taken from consciousness. It is a definite functioning which is independent of willing and wishing, of the intention and conscious aims of the ego. It is very probably that we dream continually. Only our consciousness makes such a noise in the waking state that we no longer hear it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, there's something about that dreaming state that's even beyond will or wishing.
Absolutely. Yes, we do not control our dreams. So
it's very true. There's something that very wild about that, about the dreams. So you're a Jungian practitioner. How would you say that distinguishes your approach to dreams from other approaches to dreams that people might have experienced?
Well, Jung and Freud were the first psychologists, psychiatrists to work with dreams. And basically, from a Jungian perspective, dreams speak in the language it's an archaic language. Well, the first question be, why don't dreams say what they mean?
That is a good question.
And why do they speak in a language that seems so difficult to understand from the point of view of the conscious mind? And Jung's response to that was that dreams speak in the language of poetry, of metaphor, image, and symbol. Jung believed that they come from an ancient and archaic language of the psyche that we may have evolved out of, such as cave paintings, for instance, going back thousands and thousands of years. It may be that the dreams are using a language that's gleaned from memory fragments of the day, the life of the dreamer, the body or cellular memory, and the ancient memory of the collective, or what we call the archetypal realms. Perhaps it's the voice of the gods as they manifest in the body and instinct. And instinct and archetype are one thing. They are the body and what is in the, let's say, the collective spiritual realm, and how they come together as the psyche. And the psyche is kind of a mediator. So as the body is a self-regulating system, so is the psyche. And so we get the same kind of self-regulation. It knows how to find its balance. So most dreams, from a Jungian perspective, are compensation dreams. There are many different kinds of dreams, but the compensation dreams are the most common, and they're usually around a theme. So it can, when we're working with a dream, they may be going on for weeks or months or even years. The same theme will be circumambulating, going around and around, trying to get to an understanding of that.
Can you give an example of a compensation dream? What does that mean as in a concrete way?
Well, yes. So when we have most of our dreams are compensation dreams, as I said. So, you have a dream, a specific example might be pointing to, I have a dream about my neighbor who has been constantly knocking at my door and I'm not paying attention. For example, so because we're looking at dreams always primarily subjectively, that neighbor might be an aspect of someone in something inside, an energy inside my own self that is trying to get my attention and that I'm not paying attention to. So what the compensation is doing is it's rebalancing. That's the self-regulation part, that it's trying to rebalance what is out of balance, what we're not aware of. In our daily life, we might be going along and not realize that there is something that that's in shadow, that is we're not paying attention to.
So there's something knocking at the door, and the neighbor represents something of ourselves.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. All right. So then the one thing we can do in waking life is maybe ask the question of what is that part of ourselves that might be knocking at the door.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's compensation dreams. What other kinds of dreams do people have?
Well, there are a number of different kinds of dreams. There's the purposive dreams, or dreams that point forward. Most dreams point forward. They may, because there is no time and space in the dream realm. So they may point and draw from our past, but they'll also be pointing forward as to where we're wanting to go, what is trying to happen energetically. So there's dreams of recurring dreams, there's nightmares, and then there's what Jung called the big dream.
Let's talk about big dreams. What are those about?
Yeah. So big dreams come out of the collective. They're always really mythic. They're numinous, meaning they have this kind of vibration as though a god has spoken. And they're the dreams that, whether we write them or not, we will never forget them. And sometimes those dreams stay with us over a lifetime, and we may be working with them throughout our lifetime to try to get to the meaning. So they have very much to do with our own soul's trajectory or destiny.
Wow. So how do we know? You said that a big dream usually has a certain feeling to it, a kind of a resonance, and it's also very memorable, even without writing it down.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So I'm trying to imagine some of my own dreams. Like I find dreams are the dreams that stay with me. Like I have a childhood dream that in which I discovered that people around me were broken. And that in this dream, everybody was walking around literally broken, like at the waist, so that their upper body was hanging down between their legs, and people had this, like their spine was broken, and they had these smiles on their face. They were like, "Oh, this is very normal." And it was, for me, there was something about like recognizing how wounded people are, and myself included, and yet we're all pretending everything's fine. So I don't know if that would qualify as a big dream, but it's something that I've remembered always since I was a little girl.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Because you remember it from the time you were a little girl and you woke up and it's still working on you. And yes, I mean, this awareness, not to interpret the dream, but an awareness that this is things are not as they seem, people are not as they seem,
Mm-hmm.
and how does that then work through your life? And I suspect that with a big dream, as with this one, it is still working on you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And coming back to my coming around as I am in my current life, my current reality of being a dream worker, I find that working with people, I have a lot of compassion for the ways that they're broken and the ways that they're pretending that everything is fine, and having a lot of like compassion for that, and that we all go through our lives and have to pretend that everything's okay, and yet inside often there's a lot of very painful places that are knocking at the door, kind of ready to be healed, if we would just be able to take a minute and be willing to go there, explore.
Yes, exactly. And
Mhm.
so that dream has been a kind of a guide, and for you both and emotionally. I mean, and that's so, as you know, Katherine, so important in dreams is that the affective, that what we feel is one of the most important aspects of the dream. There's the image, but there's also the feeling,
Mhm.
you know, and then there's metaphor. So basically, the idea being, Jung's idea is that because dreams are so ancient, that's why they don't necessarily speak literally. They might speak more of a language of image and symbol and metaphor, which we see in poetry. It circumambulates, it intimates.
Yeah, after all, we know that many other creatures, well, if they dream, or at least they go through REM cycles similar to we do, so we assume they do, like any pet owner knows that your dog or cat's dreaming. And they have very rich emotional lives, as we do, and yet they don't have language in the same way we do. So perhaps the dreams are happening at that level, at the very nonverbal level.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. It would be wonderful to know what they are seeing or experiencing.
Right. Now, I've read that dreaming happens in the deepest part of our brain, like the amygdala and the hippocampus, and the parts of our brain concerned with feelings and personal memories, and that's also called the lizard brain. So interesting that the dreams themselves come from this kind of lizard, real basic body connection place, and it makes me think of my dream of the lizard, in that's where the dreams are coming from, that there's something about that lizardness that's valuable to us, even in our modern life, where we are thinking and judging and relating and even being very emotional, and yet the dreams come from an even deeper place than that.
Yes, well, according to Jung, the dreams come both from what you're talking about, the instinct, which is that lizard brain, the amygdala, the instinctual self that is still very animal-like and really raw and primal, very ancient and primal. And they also come from, as humans, we manage to hold both. They also come, there's a dialectic, a conversation between what is coming from the collective or archetypal, or you might say the spiritual realm. And the dream guide is mediating. So psyche is being mediated by what I think of as the dream guide, who is balancing both the instinctual world and this collective world. And there's a conversation going on between the body and the soul, or the spirit.
That's beautiful. So we are speaking to Jungian psychotherapist Eva Rider, and this is the Dream Journal on K-Squid 90.7 FM. I am your host, Katherine Bell.
Once upon a time, there was a little squid. It lived in the Monterey Bay, deep in the submarine canyon, dreaming one day that it would become a kraken. It took a long time for it to grow, and slowly and patiently it did. And one day, it broke out and came to the surface and became KSQD Radio, K-Squid, coming to 90.7 on your dial.
Welcome back to the Dream Journal. We are here live in the studio with Jungian local depth psychologist Eva Rider. So welcome back, Eva.
Thank you, Katherine.
So you have something for us here? Looks like you got a quote for us.
Yes. So I have a number of quotes from Jung that are interesting to ponder. And this one, he says, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know. He speaks to us in dreams," or she speaks to us in dreams, "tells us how differently she sees us from the way we see ourselves. When therefore we find ourselves in a difficult situation in which there is no solution, we can sometimes kindle a light that radically alters our attitude."
You can sometimes kindle a light?
Yeah,
what do you think that's about?
Marvelous quote by Jung, which goes as far as my favorite, "As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of existence is to kindle the light in the darkness of mere being."
Okay, something about meaning in life, and people talk about looking for the meaning and purpose.
Yes, and so Jung is saying basically that the meaning and the image are absolutely identical.
Oh.
So the meaning is wrapped inside the image and vice versa. And as the image takes place, so the meaning also becomes clear. So the pattern doesn't need interpretation. It portrays sort of a therapeutic requirement for there's a distinctly numinous, which is that God energy coming through, characteristic, or magical energy that comes through the dream.
So maybe that like speaks a little to something I've often felt, that we don't really need to understand our dreams for them to benefit us. We can find meaning in the image without having to understand. It's like the difference between meaning and understanding. Like understanding for me is more intellectual, whereas meaning is more a sense of maybe a little bit of the numinous and the sense of meaning, like something that feels important.
Yeah. That's interesting, yes. Well, and of course, having the understanding, which sometimes comes as a flash of lightning, and go, aha, is also really, really helpful when we know, to remind us that we're on the right track.
Well, sometimes dreams can be even more intense than just that aha moment. And there's something about nightmares that makes me wonder, like, why does the dreams get so intense sometimes? What is going on with nightmares?
So nightmares are dreams. Two things that both recurring dreams and nightmares. Nightmares tend to happen when we're not paying attention. So Marie-Louise von Franz, who was a student of Jung's, spoke of nightmares as the mare, the horse, they're startled dreams. They wake you up. So it's an urgent message from the guiding self, this guiding self that mediates between the world.
Could it be the moment when the knock on the door is not enough, and the dream maker has to smash down the door, becomes more violent? It's the way when we're not paying attention to just the knock, the nightmare is loud enough maybe to get our attention.
Certainly, that sounds like that would constitute a nightmare. It's a shock. It's a shock wanting to awaken us to consciousness of a situation that needs our immediate attention. And, when we don't pay attention to those nightmares, that's when they recur. So they keep happening because they keep knocking until we finally pay attention to them.
Right. Well, there's plenty of people who don't want to talk about their nightmares and they want to suppress their nightmares. And I understand, because they're very uncomfortable. We wouldn't necessarily want to have the pain and the fear that happens in the nightmares. What would you say to someone who just doesn't want to address their nightmares? I mean, maybe, I don't know. Those are the most important dreams to address, because when we begin to talk with those figures, when we begin to have a conversation, a dialectic, an interaction with these parts that come to us at night, even if they're really frightening, if we face them and we can dialogue with them and we can ask them why they're there and what the message is, we find that they really start to shrink back to they become much more friendly. And they are so, because they're, as Marion Woodman, my teacher, used to say, dreams are the purest form of expression, because they're your own images. They come from you. So as scary as that nightmare image might be, when we come into conversation with it, it shrinks down to a level where you discover, oh, it's trying to bring you a message. It's trying to be a helper. And it becomes so scary because we're running away from it. Right, right. Now, do you have much experience with post-traumatic stress disorder? It seems like that might be a case where the nightmares are, they're so severe that the system is like, well, what is your take on that? Because in that case, the nightmares are just overwhelming, and they tend to be repetitive and very specific about the actual traumatic event, as I understand. Yes, exactly. And in PTSD, the night we would still work with it the same way. Although, to sidetrack a little bit, I will use the trauma release techniques to relax the body so that this intensity we can bring it down a few notches. But again, still bringing it to awareness, bringing it to consciousness, and working with these terrifying images when we're not alone, with a guide. Yeah. Makes it palpable, makes it easier. And, these figures are rarely as scary as we think. Right. So you talked about the TRE. Is that something you work with your clients when they're in a traumatic situation? Do you want to say a little bit about what that is? Yes. Well, TRE, trauma release, is developed by David Berceli. He's been taking it around the world over 35 years to war-torn countries and places where there have been natural catastrophes. And he noted that this is it's a somatic experience, that when we're traumatized, the body just clenches up and shuts down, and we hold everything in the body, all our trauma. And we can walk around like that for years, experiencing, like you said, especially in PTSD, extreme panic, anxiety, nightmares. So what this does is it allows the neurological system to relax and shake out. So basically it's a series of 7 exercises which allows the body to open the channels, and then you literally, it's quite extraordinary because people are always surprised. The body shakes on its own. We don't actually do it. It knows. It's a self-regulating system, like the psyche, and it knows how to rebalance itself. Right. I did a TRE workshop with you, and I found it was quite remarkable, the energy that was stored in my muscles, and that by releasing that energy created a certain sense of freedom and relaxation for myself. Oh, I'm so glad that that was helpful. It seems to be, it was very helpful for me as well. Which I use it a lot when people come with anxiety, like you said, and trauma. And these days, anxiety is a major issue for many of us. There's a lot of anxiety, for sure, and a lot of people are, medicating because of the anxiety is so uncomfortable. But maybe there are other ways, or maybe as well there are other ways to work with anxiety. Like I have a few clients who are doing medications, and that the dream work is also helpful in that case, and the TRE work would surely be helpful as well to release that anxiety and trauma. Absolutely. The TRE accesses that
lizard part of the brain.
Oh, the good
first.
old lizard, yes.
Yeah, it goes to the amygdala and accesses the trauma on the somatic body level first, which makes so much sense because the insight is the last thing that comes.
Mm-hmm.
The emotional component, the insight coming from the neocortex, but the emotional component is kicks in once the body can finally relax.
Right, right. So I'm Katherine Bell, and this is the Dream Journal. We are here in the studio with local Jungian depth psychotherapist Eva Rider. And we're going to have a musical moment here, which is a song called I Feel Immortal by Tarja, which brings in some of the intensity, almost nightmare-like intensity.
Whenever I wake up, I'm lost and always afraid. It's never the same place. I close my eyes to escape. The walls surround me and I drift away inside. The silence overtakes the pain and in my dreams I'm immortal. I am not scared. No, I'm not scared. I feel immortal when I am there. When I am
Reverend Richard telling you, my chillins, don't touch that dial. It's got squid on it.
Hello, my name is Katherine Bell, and you are listening to The Dream Journal on KSQD Santa Cruz. We're here with Eva Rider on K-Squid. Hello, Eva.
Hello, Katherine.
So I wanted to ask you about this process called the dialectic. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, so this is where I like to use the imagery of the tree. And what the dialectic would be, if we imagine a figure 8 on its side. So the process of the dialectic of the dream is that the spiritual part, the collective, is in communication. The dream messenger is in communication with the conscious. So the unconscious is constantly trying to talk to and dialogue with the conscious. So we've got this unconscious conscious dialogue, which is why it's so important to remember our dreams. So Jung's method is dialectic, not only because it's a dialogue between two people, but also because it's a vertical dialogue. So the two people would be a horizontal dialogue, right? Relationship. But there's also this intrapsychic, which is between the spirit and the body through the mediation of what we call soul. So by confronting and dialoguing with the contents of the consciousness and the unconscious and the conscious, there's an interaction. And that interaction can potentially create what Jung called a third, the transcendent third, which is a synthesis between the waking and sleeping, the conscious and unconscious, creating a new understanding and a new level of meaning.
Oh, could this be like what they talk about as an aha, that there's a sense of like integration, like, oh, something
Exactly.
connects here? Okay.
Exactly, yes. It's an integration
Okay.
at a whole new level of understanding, meaning, aha.
Aha. Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Yeah.
simple ways of describing it.
Yes.
Is, I might say, a colloquial way of describing it. Is there a way that you could suggest to our listeners of how they could work with their dreams in this dialectic way that they could do on their own? I know it's nice to have, it's very helpful, in fact, to have someone help, a guide, but if they're on their own working with their dreams, is there something you could suggest?
Yes, definitely. There are many techniques. And of course, writing them down is really important, is just giving yourself a suggestion before you go to sleep at night, to invite a dream, to have a way of recording it, whether it's, on your iPhone or I like to write them by hand. I have a dream journal. It's good to have one without lines, so that if you want, you can draw or paint or write upside down or write them in form of poetry, which is the more natural language of them, which image and symbol. And then as you're waking up, just another is to just try to move the dream through in your imagination a few times before, 2 or 3 times, so you can just grasp the images. Because as we so well know, when we wake up and we're in a rush, that it's like a puff of smoke, like a cloud that just dissipates. So it's important to get anything, even if it's just an image, just a color, whatever comes. It's a holographic process. It's a hologram. Mm-hmm. So anything we get is valuable.
Mm-hmm. I often find that what remains in the morning, I love the description of a puff of smoke, and that sometimes it's indescribable. Like you were saying, it's like pre-verbal, like maybe that's something about the part of my brain that's been around since I was a lizard, that the thing that remains for me is a feeling, but it's not a feeling I can even really name. It's just something. It's just like I can't describe it. There's just like something happened, and I don't know what, and I don't even know if it was good or bad. It was just something intense happened, or the image might be not just murky, but indescribable.
Yes, it really is outside of our regular linear kind of language. Mm-hmm. So symbol in itself is a mediating a kind of function. So symbol is a transformer. And so the metaphor, the image, and the symbol they all act as transformers of energy that connects the unconscious to the conscious. And they go back and forth. That's the dialectic part. There's a loop effect. Like the more you remember your dreams, and the more you write them, the more dreams you get. Mm-hmm. The less you remember them, the less you get, because it's as though the dream messenger, the dream guide, says, you're not listening, so I'll move on. Mm-hmm. But if you're listening, let's have a conversation.
Right.
Let's have a relationship and keep this going.
Right. And there's plenty of people who say that they don't dream, but we know from various studies that everybody dreams. The only question is whether you remember them or not. And by opening the door even just a little bit and saying, so it was a tree. That's all I got, a tree. That's something, write it down. And then that opens the door to the dream messenger saying, oh, dreams are welcome here. And I think it strengthens even the neurological connections between that deep dreaming part of ourself and our waking mind, so that there's something happening even, I think, on a neurological level.
Absolutely.
That makes it easier for us to remember dreams as we go forward, the more we remember them.
Absolutely, yes. So there's a relationship that develops, and yes, and of course, the more we can bring to awareness, the richer life becomes, because we now have an internal guide that we can check in with, and we're nourishing the conversation between the unconscious and the conscious.
Absolutely, and I believe that the dream work that I've done over the years has improved my my intuition and my connection to my body. So I'm more aware of my body in a way that I really wasn't when I was an intellectual astrophysicist working for NASA. I was just kind of carrying my head around. My body was just there to carry my head around, and now I feel like there's just a rich connection between my consciousness and my body, or my unconscious. Like, is there is the body like a kind of unconsciousness? Is there like something about the body that speaks?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The body is definitely unconscious. As you were saying, that instinctual part, that lizard part, which or the instinctual part of the body, is unconscious. Mm-hmm. And just as the archetypal world can be unconscious. And, the ego self, the self, that we think we are, that we're identified with, is kind of juggling in a sense. I mean, between these two states. And, the task is that the instinctual self is really the mirror image of that collective archetypal. And they're dancing together. And we are in the middle and trying to be, a mediator.
Right. Well, another example of an unconscious process that we can make conscious is our breathing. That most of the time, our breathing happens at an unconscious level, totally automatic. And yet there are many spiritual traditions that invite us to make breathing conscious. So there is a way to take this unconscious process and bring it into consciousness. And there are benefits to doing that.
Yes, absolutely. Breath, it's inspiration. It's,
in spirit.
Right, inspiration, yes, in spirit, and expiration. So there's a dialectic process of breathing in, taking in that.
Breathing in right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Eva, you have a local practice here in town. Are you open to working with new clients going forward?
Oh, yes.
Well,
I would welcome that.
Definitely. And so I want to find out how people could get in touch with you if they would like to.
Well, a number of ways. I have a website. My website is www.reclaimingsoul.com. My email address is Eva Rider, R-I-D-E-R, at reclaimingsoul.com. And my phone number is 831-427-9108.
427-9108. And what about upcoming events? I know that you give workshops, sometimes online, sometimes in person. What are you excited about going forward? What have you been doing in your life that you're excited about?
Well, I'm continuing to explore these avenues with both fairy tale and with incorporating body with these mythic elements, whether it's in fairy tale or whether it's through some of the other work that I bring in, which is the more esoteric alchemical work. I'm working right now on with alchemy and how alchemy shows up in our different initiatory states throughout life, and so
is that like in a writing, or how? When you say you're working with alchemy, can you say a little more about that?
How, Jung did a lot of work on alchemy, with alchemy. And of course, this arises in the dream work as well, is when we're going through a change, a huge transformation of some kind, to be able to map as to where we are on our path of initiation. There are many initiations we encounter throughout life. But in terms of immediate workshops right now, there's nothing that I've got happening right now.
I know you're associated with Pacifica. Often you go down there and do things, some degree.
Mostly I take classes there. I will be incorporating some of the work I do with the tree and with the tarot and the end of February at a symposium.
Right. And do you have some online, maybe they can find through your webpage, some online classes? Like there was a class about the Fool, the tarot. That was through the Depth Psychology, right?
Through the Depth Psychology Alliance, there are 2 YouTube videos that can be accessed at this time. And one was an interview with Bonnie Bright, who is the founder, called Jung Alchemy and the Tree of Life. And then there's another one specifically on tarot, which had some technical difficulties, but it's on archetypal patterns on the road to individuation. And both of those are available on YouTube if you're interested in more of my work.
So we just go to YouTube and look for Eva Rider. It's Rider.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I know that you had a quote you wanted to end with, so I invite you to bring it out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like to often I'll end workshops with this. It's called The Maker of Dreams. It comes from the book, The Way of the Dream, which were interviews with Marie-Louise von Franz, Jung's protege and renowned Jungian analyst, with Fraser Boa, who was also a Jungian analyst and the brother of Marion Woodman. And the book is called The Way of the Dreams, and I thought this was a perfect way to approach dreams. So, the maker of dreams. Legend has it that when the gods made the human race, they fell to arguing where to put the answers to life so that humans would have to search for them. One god said, "Let's put the answers on top of a mountain. They'll never look for them there." "No," said the others, "they'll find them right away." Another god said, "Let's put them in the center of the earth. They will never look for them there." "No," said the others, "they'll find them right away." Then another spoke, "Let's put them in the bottom of the sea. They will never look for them there." "No," said the others, "they'll find them right away." Silence fell. After a while, another god spoke, "We can put the answers to life within them. They will never look for them there." And so they did that.
The answers to life are within us.
Exactly.
But some of us are looking. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you,
that
Katherine.
was really lovely.
Thank you, Katherine.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
And again, her website is reclaimingsoul.com. SOUL. I hope you enjoyed that replay with Eva Rider. I want to let you know that here in 2020, Eva Rider is offering a new 11-week online course entitled Sophia Sparks, Return of the Light in Matter, which will run every other Saturday, noon to 2 p.m., starting October 3rd. Eva's classes are always full of beautiful images, inspiring quotes, and profound insights. You can find links to Sophia Sparks in the show page, or go to Eva's website, reclaimingsoul.com, for more information and to register, or you can contact me and I will get you in touch with Eva. Next week I will be speaking live with Lauren Schneider about finding the help in your dreams. Dreams are supposed to offer guidance, and yet they always seem so confusing. We delve into the ways that dreams do help, just not always in the ways that we expect them to. This is a subject that I am passionate about as well. Lauren and I will be introducing a new workshop series that we will be leading on finding the help in the dreams starting in October. The Dream Journal will be live again as usual next week, so you can call in to ask questions or to share a dream. Now back to our replay, and we will finish up the show with Eva Rider. I am Katherine Bell, and this has been the Dream Journal. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about Experiential Dreamwork at experientialdreamwork.com. I offer dream groups here in Santa Cruz. private sessions, and in-depth retreats. If you have a dream you are curious about, I am offering free introductory dream consultations. You can also reach me at Katherine at ksqd.org. That's KATHERINE at ksqd.org. Let me know if you have something for the show, like announcements about dream-related events or groups, suggestions for interviews, questions about a dream, or ideas for dream-themed music. If you like this show, drop a line to info@ksqd and let them know. I'd like to thank my guest, Eva Rider. It was great to have you.
Thank you, Katherine. It was a real honor to be here.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank my program assistant, Max Deaton, and many thanks to our wonderful musician, Rick Kleffel, and his improvised musical stylings for providing a dreamy mood for this show. I would welcome your feedback as whether you like this feature of the Dream Journal. Go ahead and send me an email or contact info@ksqd and let them know what you think about this addition to the Dream Journal. I'd also like to thank all the wonderful donors who support this station. K-Squid is 100% listener supported, and donations are always welcome at ksqd.org.
Sweet dreams that leave all worries far behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
That's all for the Dream Journal. Join us again next Saturday at 10 a.m. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, take a minute to look within. Do you remember a dream? Write it down and bring it to the next Dream Journal. Are you ready to open the gift of your dreams? I am Katherine Bell, and you are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz.
Just close my eyes again. Climbed aboard the Dreamweaver train. Trying to take away my worries of today and leave tomorrow behind. Ooh, I believe you can get me through the night. Ooh, Dreamweaver, I believe we can reach the morning light. Fly me high through the starry skies, maybe to an astral plane. Cross the highways of fantasy. Help me to forget today's pain. Ooh, Dreamweaver, I believe you can get me through the night. Ooh, Dreamweaver, I believe we can reach the morning light. Though the dawn may be coming soon, there's still